Are you hard-headed, stubborn, set in your ways, bullheaded, rigid, inflexible? I can go on and on. Chances are, as a man, you probably have a little of that come shining through sometimes, at least part of the time. If we ask the people in your life, they would probably agree that at least part of the time you fall in that category just like I do. I certainly am, and I know it. Now, it can be one of our finest qualities as men and one of our worst. In Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, we see this unfold. Hear me, my time is nearly gone. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and a hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope that I have made possible for you, Ebenezer. You were always a good friend to me. Thank you. You will be haunted by three spirits. Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow night when the bell tolls one. Now, if you're not familiar with Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, I certainly prefer the Muppets version of the holiday classic. Well, that's just my personality. I do. The VeggieTale version is a close second, but I like the Muppets version the best. But I'm sure you can find lots of versions of this. The scene always made me think, who could possibly be that stubborn that it took something so ridiculous to get its attention as four ghosts? Well, then I have to stop and be honest and realize that sometimes that might be me. So on today's episode, we're going to see if we can do this with a little less haunting. So let's get into it. Here's the $1,000,000 question. How do men like us reach our full potential, grow into the men we dream of being, while taking care of our responsibilities, working, being good husbands, fathers, and still take care of ourselves? Well, that's the big question. In this podcast, we'll help you answer those questions and more. My name is Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast. It's 4 days until Christmas. Some of us are scrambling because we procrastinate, and some of us are just excited because we totally are ready. Not me, but some people, I'm sure. Regardless of how you feel about Christmas, it's an interesting time, and it's not a bad time for a little self-reflection. I like to think I'm a little more observant and open-minded than Scrooge was in A Christmas Carol. Even if I am a bit of a Grinch, that's me in the household. I saw the meme this year that says, life's interesting when you're Buddy the Elf and you're married to the Grinch. That's me and my wife, totally. However, it's a good idea to take a look under the hood and see if we're a little more open-minded to what we can learn from this time of year, maybe sans ghost. By the way, my name's Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for all things man. Big shout out to Fallible Nation. That's our private community. You can find more on that in the description. And a warm welcome to our first-time listeners. Hey, there's a lot going on in your life. We know there's a lot of things fighting for your attention. So thanks for checking us out and giving us a listen. Be sure and leave us a review or a comment on whatever platform you're on, or reach out to us at the Fallible Man on most social media platforms. Let us know what you thought of the show, but thanks for checking us out in the meantime. This Christmas season, may I suggest to consider taking a cue from our dear friend Charles Dickens, and maybe forgive him for all that horrible nonsense we had to endure reading in high school and junior high English. But let's give him a little wiggle room, right? Because I think there's something we can learn. Maybe you don't have a Jacob Marley to come visit you and remind you that you need to examine what's important to you, what really matters in this life, because that's in essence what happens. Sorry for the spoilers if you haven't actually read the book or seen one of the many, many, many movies. It's really not hard to find a Jacob Marley if you don't have one in your life, though, because there are people sloshed all over this time, and they are more than willing at this time of year to pour out their tale of woe and how bad life is. And so if you don't have a Jacob Marley to prod you to contemplate, like I said, you can probably find one at the local bar. Or consider this your personal haunting. I'm not as scary, likely just as annoying, but At least you don't have to get, chains and rattles and woo kind of nonsense, right? And you certainly don't have to risk getting the puke on your shoes that you might if you go ask a local drunk. So from the Christmas Carol, let's delve into these ghosts. Jacob Marley called Scrooge's attention to, you don't got it figured out, and if you don't get your crap together, it doesn't end well. Wake up call. Hopefully you have that friend. Hopefully they're not a ghost. But if you don't, here's your wake up call. We all have room to grow. There are things that are important, and this is a good time for self-reflection. So if you accept that you have room to grow, then we can take lessons from the other three ghosts. The ghosts of Christmas past. Take a look back over this last several years. Now, I don't know how many Christmases you have under your belt, but I bet you have more than a few memories, good or bad. Doesn't matter. It's not a judgment on good or bad, but I bet you have more than a few good or bad memories associated with the holidays. Review the years in your mind's eye is actually really an easy point to work off of, because utilizing Christmas as a takeoff point for thinking about those years of your life is actually a lot easier, because it's such a major holiday that it can effectively serve as a time marker for your memory. So if you can't remember all these, 5 years, 10 years, whatever for you, think specifically around the Christmas time. Your general demeanor about the year will be reflected in your memories of this holiday. Was it stressful and difficult, or was it full of joy and laughter? What made it so? Now, consider lingering there for a few minutes and see where you've been. What made years great and what made them difficult? Look back, take stock, and it can be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever years you can think back and review where you've been, what your life looked like, and how that makes you feel. Then we're going to jump forward to the ghost of Christmas present. Once you spend some time stepping through the past, bring it up to now. How are you feeling about the holiday this year? Not as are you a holiday person, but like I said, your general demeanor for the year is often reflected in the holidays. So take stock of the year, where you are. Is it where you hope to be? Is it where you wanted to be? If it's not where you wanted to be or what you hoped it would be, what'd you miss? Why isn't it? What should you have done differently? Have you been present this year? Not a present. No one wants to see you wrapped up in a bow, but present in your relationships, in your undertakings, in your missions, in your goals. Have you been present in those moments? Do you embrace the moment while you are still planning the goals ahead, but still embracing the now? Have you treated the people that matter to you well? How have you treated them? How are those people interacting in your life? Are you being kind to people you encounter, whether you know them or not? What is your outlook on this year? And we're just talking about 2023. We know that 2020, 2021, 2022, definitely some rough patches for a lot of people. But how has this year been for your overall goals and outlook? Think about that. We've already visited the past and looked at how past years have been. And for some of us, we may have to skip over those ghastly years of, the dreaded that we shall not name, right? Now let's jump ahead to the Ghost of Christmas Future. Now, an important note is that in the book, the Ghost of Christmas Future could show Ebenezer no more than you or I already could unpack as a likelihood based on his past and present. In fact, he shows him shades of things, quote on shades, air quotes if you're listening, shades of things that could be possibilities, not a guarantee. Just like we have the power to unpack the first two ghosts today and examine our own past and the last year for us and things like that, you have the power to see the possible shades, air quotes, of what's to come. If you stay just like you are now. make no changes in the coming year, where will you be come Christmas 2024? How will your year have gone? Will it be better? The same? Worse? How will that differ if you make some changes? Because just like in the book, the ghost was just making educated guesses based on the patterns. You can do the same thing. And if you don't like the way it looks looking forward to 2024, Christmas 2024, a year from this time period, well, then you need to examine what changes you want to make and start putting that together. I actually have a special surprise for you for next week's show. We're sitting down with a good friend of mine who's going to help us really dig into making 2024 the year you want it to be. Alex is incredible at putting together goals and actually achieving them very effectively. And he's going to help us put together really practical plans to make 2024 better in case that Christmas future isn't looking as bright as you'd like it to be. Maybe we don't need 4 ghosts to scare the crap out of us. I don't know that you're that hard-hearted or that hard-headed, actually. If you were, you might not actually be listening to this podcast, but if you're listening to this show, you're probably already in the mindset of looking for some positive change in your life. This beloved story can certainly give us something to think about. Whether you like Christmas or not, you have to admit there's something magical about this time of year. People are kinder in general, and that's always magical. Go watch the Muppet's Christmas Carol with Michael Caine. It's fun for the whole family. It will put a smile on your face. And then take a few minutes of self-reflection during this holiday season. And remember, it's not Christmas until you see Hans Gruber fall from Nakatomi Tower. From all of us here at the Fallible Man, Merry Christmas. And as always, be better tomorrow because of what you do today. And we'll see you on the next one.
This has been the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for everything man, husband, and father. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a show. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com for more content and get your own Fallible Man gear.